All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Week 10 recap. And we talk about how everything that happened today impacts the 49ers. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And this video also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, right along the Monterey Peninsula. Go say hi to my friend Anthony Catania. He is at 831-521-5264 for all your sports cards and collectible needs. All right. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle and Sharp Corners for sponsoring the Krug Show. All right, let's talk about Week 10 and how it impacts the Niners. The Niners are going to take on the Lions later on this year, and the Lions are rolling. 26-23, a game that they trailed at halftime 23-7. Texans led in Houston 23-7 at half. Jared Goff had a nightmare night. He threw 5 picks, and it was an amazing comeback. Brian Branch, by the way, the defensive back for the Lions, the former Alabama star, he's just amazing. He had 11 tackles, 2 passes defensed. He had a tackle for a loss. Carlton Davis had 2 huge picks for the Lions. And it's amazing. I mean, Houston struggled to run the ball in this game. Azeez Al-Shaair, by the way, I'll say this. Maybe one of the biggest mistakes the Niners made was letting Azeez Al-Shaair get out of there. 7 or 8 tackles, 2 or 3 tackles for loss. He was everywhere. Azeez Al-Shaair is awesome. He is every bit as good as Fred Warner, every bit as good as Dre Greenlaw. He's a monster, man. He runs and hits, and the speed at which he plays. He tracked down Jahmyr Gibbs on a ball late in this game where it just showed unbelievable speed. So it kills me that the Niners found Azeez, signed him as an undrafted free agent, made him, he didn't make him anything, but saw him emerge in their uniform and then couldn't pay him, let him walk. And now he's in Houston and he's awesome. Jimmy Ward had an interception in this game. With 1:56 left, Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans, tried a 58-yard field goal, and he missed it left. And that meant the Lions took over at the 40-yard line. And with 4 seconds left, Jake Bates hit a 52-yard field goal. Detroit came back with 19 unanswered points. Are you kidding me? 19 unanswered, and they win 26-23. They are the best team in the NFC right now, the Detroit Lions. Their offensive line is fantastic. Their defensive secondary is fantastic. Terrion Arnold, what a get. Carlton Davis, what an incredible player. Brian Branch. I mean, they had a weakness. It was their defensive line and then their secondary. Well, they added all these great defensive backs, including Terrion Arnold, and they added DJ Reader up front. The Lions are big time. All right, elsewhere around Week 10, the Cardinals beat the Jets, and the Cardinals are on the Niners' schedule. Niners are going to have to play the Cardinals at the end of the year. 31-6 in Glendale. Kyler Murray threw for 266 and a touch. He ran for 2 more. Arizona suddenly is hot. They've won 4 straight. They picked apart the Jets' number 2 ranked pass defense, and Arizona never trailed. They scored touchdowns on 4 of their first 5 offensive drives, and they never looked back. So Kyler Murray completed 17 in a row in this game. I know James Conner caught 5 balls for 80 yards. Harrison had another big game. The Jets are awful. They've lost 6 of 7. Jeff Ulbricht's 1-4 since taking over from Robert Saleh in early October. Arizona led 24-6 at the half in this game. And now Arizona goes into their bye week with a 6-4 record, and suddenly the Cardinals are looking really good. Monday night, we'll have the Rams taking on the Dolphins in L.A. The Rams are 2.5-point favorites. They're 4-4 on the year. Hopefully the Dolphins can beat them on the road. Elsewhere in Week 9, let's take a look at some of the other games. Minnesota beat the Jaguars 12-7. Mac Jones was awful. Jaguars held to 143 yards. Sam Darnold had 3 picks in this game. He actually threw a 4th that was negated by a penalty, but Minnesota just dominated this game. They ran 82 plays. Jacksonville ran 42. They had 421 yards, or they held the ball for 42 minutes. Jacksonville had the ball for 17 minutes. Minnesota had 28 first downs. Jacksonville had 10. Minnesota wound up with 402 yards. Mac Jones, making his first start in over a year, was 14 of 22 for 111 yards, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble. So he had 3 turnovers and a 38.3 rating. The Chargers look like, Jim Harbaugh's got the Chargers playing great ball. They've got a phenomenal defense. They beat the Titans in LA 27-17. Chargers have won 3 in a row and 4 out of 5. Chargers had 7 sacks. They're allowing an NFL low 13.1 points per game. The only scores in this game for Tennessee were Calvin Ridley. He got a couple touchdowns. But the Chargers defense is just wicked. And Deion Henley had 14 tackles, 11 solo, and a sack. Bud Dupree had 2 sacks. The Chargers were amazing on defense. 7 sacks for the Chargers, 9 hits on the quarterback. Herbert's starting to play pretty good ball. And don't look now, but the Chargers are starting to heat up. They've won 3 in a row and 4 or 5, as I said. Philly beat Dallas in Dallas 34-6. Jalen Hurts accounted for 4 touchdowns in this game. Philly, really was the better team here. They take over first place in the NFC East. They've now won 5 straight. So Philly's starting to play well. Dallas is 0-4 at home this year. Cooper Rush started. He went 13 of 23 for 45 yards. He fumbled twice. Dallas had 5 turnovers. Trey Lance played in this game. Lance played, and he came off the bench. He went 4 of 6 for 21 yards and a pick. He also ran 3 times for 17 yards. A.J. Brown caught 5 balls for 109 yards. Big day for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He had 7 tackles and a pick. And the Philadelphia Eagles are playing good ball right now. They're starting to heat up. Couple other games of note around Week 10. Kansas City is 9-0. They beat Denver 16-14. Kansas City blocked a field goal. Leo Chenal blocked Will Lutz's 35-yard field goal attempt. And Kansas City is just unbeatable at this point. They've won 15 in a row dating back to last year. It's the longest win streak in the NFL since Green Bay won 19 in a row in the 2011 and 2010 seasons. Travis Kelce, 8 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. Kansas City has won their last 8 games when trailing in the second half. By the way, Taylor Swift was in the house, and the Chiefs are 9-0. The Saints beat the Falcons 20-17 in the Superdome. New Orleans is now 1-0 under their interim head coach, Darren Rizzi. New Orleans had a 17-point second quarter. 2 touchdowns from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He had 109 yards receiving. New Orleans snaps a 7-game slide. They won their first 2 games, and then they just didn't win again. Alvin Kamara had 109 yards from scrimmage. Atlanta outgained New Orleans 468 to 365. But Young-Ho Koo missed 3 field goals. I wonder who else missed 3 field goals. Young-Ho Koo missed 3. And Bijan Robinson ran for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Falcons lose to the Saints in the Superdome 20-17. Commanders. Mike Tomlin has an awesome record against rookie quarterbacks. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he owns them over his career. Russell Wilson had a touchdown pass to Mike Williams late in the fourth quarter, and the Commanders lose to the Steelers at home, 28-27. Pittsburgh has won 4 straight. They're 3-0 since they put Russell Wilson in at quarterback. Washington led this game by 10. They were up 24-14. Washington played without Brian Robinson, without Marshawn Lattimore. So, big win for Pittsburgh, and now the Steelers host Baltimore next Sunday. Washington is at Philly on Thursday night. As I said, Mike Tomlin just owns rookie quarterbacks, and that trend continued today. And then, of course, Week 10 got rolling with the Bengals losing to the Ravens 35-34. Lamar Jackson with 3 fourth-quarter touchdown passes. Baltimore stopped the Bengals 2-point conversion with 38 seconds left. And Baltimore rallied. They were down 21-7, and they won that game 35-34. Carolina beat the New York Giants 20-17 in overtime today in Munich, Germany, as Eddie Pinheiro hit a 36-yard field goal in the overtime. That was the game winner. Tyrone Tracy fumbled in the overtime. He's having a great year, the rookie running back from Purdue, but he had a key fumble. A'Shawn Robinson popped it loose. Big play from the veteran defensive tackle, and the Panthers get a win. Chuba Hubbard, 28 carries for 153 yards and a touchdown. So they gave him the new contract. That was probably money well spent. Patriots beat the Bears. That is one good thing for the Niners today, is that it looks like the Bears are starting to really fade. They lost 19-3 to the Patriots at Soldier Field. Bears come to Levi's later this year, and the fact that they look like they're fading is probably a great thing. Drake May beat Caleb Williams today. Drake May led 5 scoring drives. New England's defense, though, set the tone. They had 9 sacks and 13 quarterback hits on Caleb. New England had lost 7 of 8. Chicago, though, in this game had only 142 total yards, and they went 1 for 14 on third down. So probably the most positive development in Week 10 was the Bears look like they're falling apart. And the Bills, if you want to say the Bears are the good news, the bad news is the Buffalo Bills are 8-2, and they beat the Colts in Indy 30-20. Buffalo forced Joe Flacco into 4 turnovers. Buffalo's won 5 straight. They've scored 30-plus points in 4 straight. They're really starting to cook. Buffalo's defense had 4 sacks, 3 picks, and a fumble recovery. Buffalo played this game with no Amari Cooper, no Keon Coleman, and they're cooking right now. So hopefully something or somebody can slow down the Buffalo Bills before the Niners face them. Buffalo will take on Kansas City next Sunday in Buffalo. So big showdown there. And of course, as we all know, the story of the day that we followed was the 49ers. And the Niners beat the Bucs in Tampa 23-20. Jake Moody, who had entered the game 13 of 14 on the year, missed 3 field goals, but then made a 44-yarder at the buzzer, and the Niners escape and get to 5-4. Christian McCaffrey returned. He had 13 carries for 39 yards on the ground. He caught 6 balls for 68 yards in the air. The Niners special teams are still a circus. They muffed a punt. They had obviously 3 missed field goals. The Niners finally win their second game in a row. It's amazing they took this late in the year. We saw Deebo Samuel and Tabor Pepper jawing at each other. Samuel actually pushed Tepper around the throat because basically Deebo got in the face of Jake Moody after Moody missed his 3rd kick, and Pepper took offense to that and defended Moody, and Deebo and Pepper got into it. It doesn't sound like they've ironed it out yet, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Deebo did catch 5 balls for 62 yards. Tampa has now lost 4 in a row. Purdy threw for 353 yards. He completed 75% of his passes in the second half of the game and kind of took control, but it wasn't one of his best games. He had a lot of really bad passes. Ricky Pearsall had a 46-yard touchdown catch, and he looks like he's coming on. The one huge negative in this game for Tampa was Tristan Wirfs left with what looked to be like a very serious knee injury. And still, Nick Bosa struggled to get pressure on Baker Mayfield. So the Niners got a win, and they get Seattle next week at home. But it was a tough win. It was a tough win, and it really a team that, Tampa is so banged up offensively, the Niners should have killed them, and they didn't. So anyway, Niners do get the win. They go to 5-4, and they get Seattle next week. And that does it for our recap. Hope you enjoyed the Week 10 recap. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles in Pacific Grove for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.